All right, back to the voter ID debate. As we've seen, the issue of election security and integrity isn't going anywhere. The latest plan from Republicans seeks to set a federal standard aimed at ensuring only eligible individuals cast ballots. The Democrats have tried to fight such attempts in the past though a majority of states now have voter ID laws on their books. So to continue the discussion, let's bring in NewsNation contributor and author of the So What Substack, Chris Cillizza. Thank you very much for joining me.
Hey, Katie.
Good to see you. So I'll ask you the same question I asked the senator. This is an issue that more than 75% of the country agrees on. Republicans, Democrats, people from all different demographic backgrounds. Why is it that Democrats like Chuck Schumer are so out of touch with not just the country, but their own party?
Yeah, I'll one-up you. The last poll I saw was a Pew poll last summer, and it was 84% approval. You know, Donald Trump always talks about 80-20 issues. This really is an 80-20 issue. So the argument from Democrats has long been it's a slippery slope, right? That if you do this, then there will be further ballot restrictions, that they cite some data. The data is very mixed on this, but they cite some data that suggests voter ID impacts minorities who are registered who can vote, but they're worried about voting. Look, you point out, and I always say to people, in 36 states in this country, you are required to show some form of identification. 24 of those, it's a photo identification. 12, it's just something with your name on it. I would think we could move in that direction. I think this is caught up in politics. I mean, look, there are actually a lot of 80-20 issues in this country that we don't move on because the sort of political will doesn't seem to exist. And I think that's why you see people not happy with how government works, because government doesn't listen to them.
Well, there was a ton of so-called controversy after Georgia passed their law in 2022 with all those same arguments that it will disenfranchise minority voters, it makes it harder to vote, and actually voting numbers among minorities actually increase. That's the data from the Georgia Secretary of State, and they're very proud of that. So this idea that it disenfranchises voters based on the latest round of this debate that we've had through legislation, it just doesn't come to fruition. But why is it that someone like Chuck Schumer has to die on this hill? I mean, is it that he really just has to oppose Donald Trump on this? He has to oppose Republicans? Is it that a lot of Democrats see him as a weak leader and therefore he's trying to do something to prove himself and keep his position?
Yeah, I think that's a lot of the last thing you just mentioned, Katie. When people ask me why is Chuck Schumer doing something, I give them three letters: AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Yeah. She might run for president in 2028. She may run for the Senate. I think she's genuinely undecided. But look, Chuck Schumer, go all the way back to last spring. Chuck Schumer provided the votes to keep the government open the first time around, right? I know we all focus on the second longest shutdown in history, but the first time around, liberals did not like that at all. Mm-hmm. He's still trying to get back into their good graces. Candidly, I don't think it will work. I think that ultimately he's going to come to 2028. He had a long career in the House before he got to the Senate. I think he'll probably bow out and either make way for her or set off a big primary. But I think he wants to preserve the possibility of running again, and pissing off the left even further is not a winning recipe to do that.
We have to talk about all of these issues in terms of the midterm elections, obviously. There are plenty of indictments, both at the state level and the federal level, including one just from last year of illegal immigrants voting in federal elections illegally. You have to be a citizen to vote. I hear a lot from the left and from Democrats that this is a myth, this just doesn't happen. I wonder if politically Democrats want to take on this argument, especially when you see the polling still showing a majority of voters believe in deporting everyone who's here illegally. If Democrats really want to take on the mantra of maybe not being too open to preventing illegal immigrants from voting, while Republicans are requiring a citizenship standard.
Yeah, I don't think this is you use the phrase hill to die on for Schumer. It may be for Schumer, but it shouldn't be for the Democratic Party. Look, if everything is focused on a midterm, and it is because the calendar says 2026, they need to talk about the economy, then the economy, then the economy. I mean, it's just as simple as that, right? They need to say, Donald Trump said he was going to make things more affordable. You don't feel like things are more affordable. Anything that they talk about outside of that. And that includes, by the way, Katie, immigration. I know some Democrats are very gung-ho about immigration with Minneapolis. I would say maybe in the near term it could be a win. In the long term, people trust Donald Trump more on immigration. So I think Democrats have to stay focused. and don't get distracted by, the Kennedy Center closing down, Gulf of America, like all these other things. You win elections by staying focused on the things that matter to voters, and that's the economy.
As we say, don't take the bait, and they're taking a lot of the bait.
Always.
Chris Cillizza, thank you for joining me tonight. Good to see you.
Thanks, Katie. Take care.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.